Chapter 11, Rabbits in the Fog. Alien Mindbreaker. With your power of focus, you can solve many mysteries of the universe. All you have to do is adjust your focus, and you will be surprised. Most people who want to see alien spacecraft do not watch the sky long enough. What they have always dreamt about is right at their fingertips. They become impatient, too tired, or lack the desire to set their minds on attracting unexpected events. I began meditating and grounding myself into Mother Earth in isolated locations to improve my connection to the universe and enhance my talents to create my reality. I was convinced that dialing into my inner peace and becoming one with nature would allow me to witness more extraterrestrial happenings, which would also benefit my spirit. I trained myself to stay out at night for at least a few hours on the weekends. Being away from the city lights produced noteworthy results. Our distant star brothers and sisters are cautious of being seen. There may be strict agreements not to disturb our society. Through diligent observations, I have done my best to gain their trust while remaining humble and open to understanding their method of communication, which has been unique and mysterious. Eighth Contact. Journal entry. During relentless treks in California in December 2005, between 4 a.m. and 6 a.m., a small red light religiously appeared in the lonely sky. It steals the night, pulsating slowly in low altitudes over the horizon. Casual observers would mistake the bright light for a small plane or helicopter. With a more extended observation over weeks, the red light shows no signs of a propeller or engine noise as it glides overhead. White balls of lights of various sizes then move quickly out of the dense trees, bushes, and nearby rocks and hills. The team of organized lights gathers from the concealed darkness, where no roads illuminate as bright as giant stars. From the comfortable viewing area of Inspiration Point in Berkeley, I watched them spark out of the hillside from sections of the hills as I prepared to pack up my things and head home. The lights seemed to survey or conduct a routine of strange maneuvers countless nights, but they yielded vastly different activities one night. Tilden Park showcased what transpired, where only keen foxes, spirited deer, and the king of mischief, the coyotes, gathered. Of course, occasionally, I have run across a skunk or two, but their stench alerts me to take another path. The white lights suffocated my senses when they gathered at the belly of the hills, where the flat land meets the slopes. The orderly, tiny suns situated themselves in a single file line of 11 illuminations. Then, a trail of thick green fog radiated in an effervescent, stronger glow, elongated, and stopped directly in front of the lights. Once the misty green trail halted its creation, the rounded lights reshaped. In their moment of transformation, I stood rigid and nervous. On the edge of a quiet celebration, I had hoped for something grand to occur. I held my emotions together with great restraint. It had been too long between significant UFO activity occurrences. I had spent months shivering in the cold, waiting to make another contact with no relaxation from my anticipation. As the lights took on a new shape, I can best describe their radiant reshaping as small lights that transformed into shapes I would describe as glowing rabbits. Then, two minor points of light sprouted from the tops of their radiant bodies and narrowed significantly to form what looked like large rabbit ears. When the 11 lights finalized their appearance, they traveled swiftly through the green fog, as if they were being carried or traveling on a conveyor belt or a railroad track. early mornings, I carefully investigated the area of Inspiration Point on many occasions, where I spotted my first shooting star when I was 16. But a green fog never materialized from the atmosphere and stretched across the reservoir.
What on earth am I looking at?
The rabbit-shaped glowing fixtures moved through the fog and over the water's surface and disappeared. The light seemed to be entering something covered by the fog. When the day started to refuel itself with morning glory, the green fog disintegrated, and I could see a white fog floating on top of the water in the shape of a large houseboat. The houseboat-shaped fog was precisely where the 11 strange lights entered and vanished. The path of green fog was no longer present. The boxy-shaped fog with sharp corners remained positioned smack dab in the middle of the reservoir, with no traces of fog remaining in the vicinity. As the fog sparkled with unworldly qualities, I barely blinked. Inside, I jumped up and down like an ecstatic child on Christmas morning as my adult legs kept me anchored on the ground. The fog radiated and pulsated much more distinctly than usual fog. It had a hardened look to its appeal. It possessed the material makeup of a small glass house with a foggy exterior. I also felt like the fog knew I was watching it, as if it was intelligently alive. Soon, the house of fog becomes the lone presence in the reservoir. The hills covered with light clouds became clear of mist. I watched the fog bank closely, surveying the area with glances. Often in the past, I've turned my head, and the principal object or event I was observing vanished. I did not want this to happen. Next, the parking area where I was parked welcomes an uninvited guest. A loud car drives up behind me and distracts me. On instinct, I turn to investigate the disturbance. When I turned back quickly, the giant fog bank was gone. How could a houseboat-sized fog bank, over 50 feet long and 20 feet high, disappear in the time it takes me to turn my head? Journal entry.